to salt or not to salt? That's the question. I mean, do we do the Celtic sea salt? Are there forever chemicals and plastics? Do we do Redmond's, which they say has lead? Do we do the Himalayan salt? Why do we need salt? Let's get into it. Welcome everyone, it's a beautiful day, so this has to be a quickie because I can't be inside. Got to work on the ceiling of my house. Now, salt. We've got the Celtic and the Himalayan and the table salt, all these salts. Some people say that the Celtic salt has a ton of plastics from the sea, which they say that they have this special filtration system and little ponds, and they don't. And then people say to take Redmond's real light salt, that's what it looks like. And then some people say that there's a lot of lead in it. I mean, you can't win. I will show this in a video and they're like, oh my God, the lead, and vice versa with the plastics. And Himalayan salt, well, that's, the quality control is so low with that stuff because it trended. So people are finding heavy lentils of lead, and also the explosive chemicals that they use to break apart the salt rocks. So my go-to are these two. Now there's tons. There's like lava salt. Somebody gave me a big, huge thing of different salts, but the ones that I use more are these two. And I tend to combine the two. Now, Celtic salt has more water in it, so it's very clumpy, which means there's less sodium per gram. Per bag rather, than the Redmond's real salt. Some say that the actual sea salt, because this is coming from a dry lake bed, some say that the Celtic salt, what it does is it has magnesium in it, and it's got 3 different kinds that we are having a difficulty to get in our soil. The 2 main ones would be bromide and sulfate. Yes. And what those types of magnesiums do is they help draw water into the cell. Now, your table salt has a hard time doing that. So you can do the table salt and still feel dehydrated, where you're supposed to hydrate more, specifically on the Celtic sea salt, which is why I kind of mix them. Yes, salt is getting fluid into the cells, so the muscle cells can contract, brain cells can communicate, blood sugar can be regulated. Salt is very important for the body to communicate with each other, and really for the muscles to contract by hydrating the cell. So you need sodium and potassium because they're going to pull them in and out of the cell, which your body cannot function without being hydrated because we're made up largely of water. When people cut out their carbs, what do you lose? Sodium. And I mean a lot of it. And it happens quite rapidly. And you don't get fixed. It's not like, oh, I go through 2 weeks of water loss and then the body finds a way to rebalance. You are always peeing a lot more than you would on carbohydrates if you don't have high blood sugar. So the salt thing, people say you should get the salt from meat. It's just not enough. Same thing with the potassium. And when these people say, like, I've done strict carnivore without any, like, magnesium or extra salt, I feel fine, they're lying. Period. If you hit a hot day in the summer and you're sweating to death and you don't have extra salt, because remember, today's humans are not the same of yesteryear. We are toxic. We have heavy metals and parasites and plastics stuffed to the brim in our body. We're exposed to estrogenics, or the xenoestrogens, which are hormone disruptors. We have a leaking gut. So we don't absorb our minerals very well. And our soil is so depleted. So this is the reason why we have to bring in supplemental stuff, even though I wish we did not, clearly. You need salt for the neurotransmitters in your brain to make serotonin, melatonin, these types of neurotransmitters, these mood enhancement things are so important. Salt also helps to regulate your blood sugar. When you're stressed all the time, you dump a lot of sodium. You're not hydrating the cells. So how much? How much? Well, everyone is different. And some people have high levels of salt in their body. They're confused. They're like, I can't add any more salt in because my salt levels are very high. And I'm like, you're not absorbing the salt. So you got to work on your sleep, and you got to work on the gut, and you got to take out the foods that are drilling the holes in the gut wall so you can start absorbing your sodium. I know. Now, like I said, they always say like, oh, a little dab of soda, like you can put it in your drink. This has it has bentonite clay in it. And I'll do that, a little sprinkle of it. You have about a teaspoon a day to a teaspoon and a half, right? That's like 4 to 6 grams, 4 to 7 of salt a day. Now you can do maybe a pinch more in the summer with the Celtic sea salt because of the water content in it. But really watch how much salt you're taking when it comes to the Redmond's Royal Salt. Do we really know that this has more chemicals or problems than this? We don't. I hear both are bad and I hear both are amazing on quality control. We're not going to be able to escape the toxic world that we live in, but we can mitigate it by having good detoxification pathways and getting sleep and hydrating the cell and drinking enough water and exercise and sweating and eating every couple of hours and not fasting, because again, we are not hunter-gatherers. We have weak gut walls. We have adrenals that are just fried like bacon. We don't have any more wiggle room to fast. So a lot of people will lose their electrolytes. They'll start peeing a lot because they cut out the carbs. And then the sodium becomes down-regulated because of stress. And then their potassium dominates and they start feeling horrible heart palps. And it doesn't matter if you have too much salt or too little, too high potassium or too little, you feel the same. You feel muscle crampy, that too, brain foggy, you feel heart palpy, you feel nauseous, diarrhea, stomach aches when you don't balance your sodium and potassium. Just a quick video, 4 to 7 grams. If you're not sure which one to take, make your own decision. We don't know if we ain't cultivating anything ourselves. The same thing, where does your meat come from? Does it come from Sprouts or Whole Foods? Are you talking to the farmers that process that animal? So just have good detoxification pathways. Also the clothing. I will not wear plastic clothing anymore next to my skin, so I'm now wearing cotton. We're done. Okay? I'm trying to mitigate some of the toxins because we can't get rid of it 100,000%, but we could take it down a level and then our bodies will start flushing and pushing some of this garbage out. It just needs a little help. And people dropping out their carbs on keto, carnivore, low carb, high fat, not as bad. Snake diet, lion diet have a propensity to dehydrate very quickly, especially if you add fasting on top of that. You're not getting enough minerals throughout the day and you're just peeing more often. You may not be paying attention because people don't remember eating, let alone how many times they peed in a day, which you should check out. And I'll do a lot more videos on the problems with chronic dehydration and kidney stones on these diets, these low carb diets, and the depression and the hormonal imbalances that come when you don't regulate your minerals, especially magnesium, sodium, potassium. That's how you guys know I developed melasma. Now I've gone through summers and winters with the sun blasting on my face, and you can see that this melasma has taken a hike. Now, if I went to sunbed and I really baked, it would start to come out a little bit, but nothing in comparison to the dark, freaking nasty splatter of pudding or diarrhea spots that were all over my skin before, because I was not regulating my magnesium. check your gut. If you don't know if you have leaky gut, check out more videos, book a consultation. I can show you some of the little signs and symptoms you may not be aware of, because even the other gurus may not be aware of these signs and symptoms. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I obviously offer consultations. People ask a lot of questions in the comment section. Keep it going. I will try to answer. I see all the questions. I just can't answer the ones that are like a book long. When they're short and sweet, that's when I can more easily get into it. But you also can't ask a question where I'd actually have to know you to know. People do that a lot as well. I'm like, I don't know you. I have no idea. Otherwise, you can book a consultation and do a one-on-one, because I've been doing this. Thousands of people. Had one this morning. You can also join my course where I answer questions 3 days a week. Of course, if my house bill doesn't get too crazy, as well as course lessons. You can sign up for that through stephanieperson.com, same as a consultation. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page, Stephanie the Business Person. Yeah. Share this content. That's how people are finding me, right? And I'm a tough one. People have a hard time connecting with me because I don't make any of this stuff seem easy, and they are always saying I don't have solutions. And I'm like, how intelligent are some of the people? It's not, if I say don't eat cheese, nuts, and caffeine because they have an inflammatory response, then and the opposite of that is to eat more fat. That's the answer. I do say the answers. I think a lot of people don't hear them. Yes. And I'm out.